And welcome to the Monday, July 15th, 2024 edition of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. My name is Noah Love, and today we will be arguing and debating and discussing the hottest topics in sports. Most of this episode will be about Team USA versus Australia. My analysis: Team USA barely scrapes by Australia 98-92. We'll talk about that. We will also talk about my thoughts on the WNBA Rookie of the Year race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And also we will talk about the 12th team playoff and the college football season coming up. All that and more on the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Team USA started off against Australia. They squeaked by 98-92. This was an interesting game for the most part. Pages of notes I took. They started off well offensively. They changed the starting five. The starting five was Curry, Edwards, Tatum, James, and Embiid. That's what it was. Anthony Edwards started out hot with 11 points. Australia was very scrappy, Delvedova, Patty Mills, Joe Ingles, Josh Giddey, scrappy bunch. They started off with a better flow offensively in the first quarter. They needed to be better on their ball screens. I think they needed to hedge a little bit more. I think their switching was a little bit late. Sometimes I think there are some times where screens where you just have to know to switch it. Their second unit was Halliburton, Booker, Holiday, Adebayo, Davis. Let me just tell you something about this game, though. Anthony Davis was everywhere on both ends of the floor. He's been better than Embiid these first two games. Now, I don't know if they just want. I think they'll probably keep him as like their sixth man coming off the bench, but Davis had a double-double today. His activity was off the charts. They shot well from three early on in the game. I think they started 4 for 5 from 3-point land. Edwards started off with 11. Edwards ended with only 14, but it was balanced. 14 from Edwards. Embiid had 10. James had 10. Tatum only had 7. The benches did their thing. Halliburton was 6 points, a couple assists. Davis had 17. Booker had 16. Again, a balanced attack. But from USA, that's what you want to see. They play again Wednesday at noon against Serbia. So that'll be an interesting game. But my analysis so far, what I got, just when Davis came in, they really imposed their will, and then they just imposed. Australia just didn't have the size to go against them. You look at who they played. Their tallest guy, Jack Landale. You think he's gonna guard Anthony Davis and Embiid? You're crazy. Embiid, Davis, James. They just had their way in the paint. They really after the 3-point shot stopped falling for them, they really just put their heads down and attacked. I like this starting lineup better than the last one. I was critical of their last starting lineup. Their last starting lineup was Curry, Booker, Holiday, James, and Embiid. I like Curry, Edwards, Tatum, James, and Embiid. I just like they have more ball movement, more flow on offense to start the game. Part of that is they did get more practice time, but I think also part of that has to do with the rotation in the starting five. Durant was out. He did not play again. I don't know if he's gonna play on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm assuming he's not. And they maybe want to give him this week to rest up because you don't want to play him in the exhibition and then him get hurt. So you don't want to rush him back. So yeah, I thought they got to the free throw line and they had better ball movement at times during this game. I thought sometimes they moved the ball to get open shots. I remember there was a play. Uh, they moved the ball and Anthony Edwards he did a pump fake, got into the lane with a nice little jump shot. That was good. Second quarter, they let Australia crawl back, but then they they got careless on the offensive end, and this happened a lot. Whenever USA would get a big lead, they would let Australia crawl back in because it would get lackadaisical on defense. It would give the ball away. They would get open breaks. Australia, props to them. They would not go away. They played a very good basketball game. USA, though, won based off their talent. They play like that against anybody else. I think they could lose. Australia crawled back in. USA got careless on their offensive end. Uh, then USA got the control of the game back in the second quarter. They took advantage of their size in the second quarter. This is where Davis imposed his will every time. I mean, even Embiid got some touches where he just buried them, where they just buried Australia's big guy. They could not handle, and it's to be expected, but they just could not handle. And USA, they're gonna have the side advantage in most of these games. I mean, and I say most because they will have to play Jokic, and we know how good Jokic is. So that'll be an issue. But offensively, I felt like for most of the game, when they weren't careless with the ball, they were fine. The carelessness has to stop. The turnovers into layups has to stop. It just has to. Can't continue to play like they did shoot the three ball better. They were a decent percentage. Let me see what they ended the game as here on stats. Let me see. They ended the game from three. They ended 41%. They ended up being 12 for 29. So that's I mean, they started off 80% 4-5, so obviously they cooled down. I mean, they're not 2016 Golden State Warriors out here, but they were really good from two. They got to the line a lot. 20 or 24 from the free throw line, 83%. Really good. But the turnovers or something. They could have easily scored 100 on Australia if they just focused in, but they got the lead. I think they were up as much as 16, 18. They they got they got careless. They started playing Harlem Globetrotters. Australia cut the lead down to 6. But in the fourth, they just were able to survive. USA did a decent job in this game of containing the dribble drive of Patty Mills, and Josh Giddey. There was a couple times where they got to the rim, and you're like, "Okay, USA, you need to do a better job of that. When you're coming, get your feet down, get your feet set, be able to slide your feet. You know, I think defensively they were okay on that. And I just put this down, saw great effort. I think everybody gave great effort. I think sometimes, and I know that's a thing where you're like, come on, they're professional athletes, but sometimes you don't see them giving great effort all the time. They gave Anthony Davis, especially. I think he was player of the game. He was fantastic with that double double. He ended up with 17 points and 14 rebounds. He had 2-3 blocks as well. He was really good in this game. He's the reason they won coming off the bench. I mean, Edwards and Tatum and everybody else did their thing, but he was the main reason. He really said, you know what, give me the ball down low and let me go to work. And it was really good there. Third quarter, they really got extended the lead out. I thought they did. I thought they came out the locker room very intense, very focused. They did what they did in the first 2 quarters. They moved the ball. They were good defensively. The fourth quarter is where it unraveled. The first couple of possessions, they did a really nice job getting into their sets. They were very balanced in their scoring. Obviously, you saw Booker coming off the bench, being a sniper. AD took over the game. But USA, late. LeBron, careless. Curry struggled shooting the ball. He struggled. He only had 3 points today. He struggled, but USA just got careless. Like, there was a couple times where LeBron just throws it away and you're like, is Australia going to come back and win this game? like Australia, they were scrappy, don't get me wrong, and they're going to continue, and you knew they were going to continue to play hard. No doubt about it. But USA, I mean, they were too talented, too much. I'm telling you, Australia, when they cut it down to 6, hold on, I want to say it was 86-80 when this happened. It was 86-80 was about 6-7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You really didn't know if they were going to win this game. You just didn't know if USA, are they going to lose in the exhibition because they're going to be careless? And thank goodness they were able to pull it out. But Steve Kerr and that coaching staff really needs to get together and be like, guys, when we have a big lead, do not try to put on a show for the fans. Unless we're up 35 with like 5 minutes to go in the fourth, don't start that, because really LeBron was trying to put on the show, and that's how Australia got back into the basketball game. Australia, they played hard. They had some NBA players out there, Patty Mills, Josh Giddey, Matthew Dellavedova, former NBA player. I mean, they had some guys. And USA in the fourth, I mean, it was really just, they were just trying to get to the finish line and get it over with. And hey, credit to them, they won. And not 98-92. The next game is on FS1 against Serbia on Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they're gonna have to play better. I think offensively, you're going to want to keep that same flow that you had. Defensively, you got to be better on the ball screens. Also, offensively, you can't turn the ball over all willy-nilly. I mean, you're throwing what they would call pick sixes in football, and you're getting easy layups. If you're going to turn the ball over, at least have it be a dead ball turnover, to where, okay, they get it, but they're not out on the run. You have a chance to set your defense. Okay, Team USA 98-92 beat Australia. Okay, my thoughts on the WNBA Rookie of the Year race between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark should be runaway Rookie of the Year. That to me, she should be runaway rookie of the year. The stats back it up. The facts, the stats back it up, and their play backs it up. Look, the the Sky are in eighth, right? As I look at the standings right now, they're in eighth, right? The Fever are in seventh now. Granted, that they're both under 500, and that's because the Fever has played more games. But still, the Fever are 2-1 against the Sky. In the third game, they let it slip away. The Fever, who was the worst team in women's basketball last year for WNBA, has a legit shot to be playing in the playoffs, and it's because of Caitlin Clark. That roster is the same. But Caitlin Clark has come in, and she has set all type of records here. Caitlin Clark here, for her stats, she is averaging 17 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. If that ain't rookie of the year, I don't know what is. Now, Angel Reese, who I mean, not every Angel Reese isn't everybody's cup of tea. She's a heck of a player, but Angel Reese, she's averaging a double double. She's averaging 13.5 points and 12 rebounds. You tell me who's having the better year. Oh, and by the way, she's a big, but she's shooting 40% from the field. Caitlin Clark, who's a guard, is shooting effectively the same percentage as a big who's taking shots from 10, 12 feet. Come on, bro. Caitlin Clark beats Reese pretty much in any statistical category you look at, except for rebounding. Come on, and field goal percentage. But they're about the same in that. It's about 40%. Let's stop. The Fever won 13 games last season. They've won 11 already with Caitlin Clark. If the Fever make the playoffs, Caitlin Clark should be WNBA Rookie of the Year, because essentially what she did was take them from being the worst team to a playoff team. That's like if Victor Wembanyama had come in and took the Spurs from worst team to the 7th seed in the West this season. Come on. We got to do better. You can love Angel Reese all you want. She has no case for Rookie of the Year right now at this moment. I understand she has the double records in the streak and all that, but Caitlin Clark has the triple-double record. But yet we're trying to give this award to Angel Reese when really there's no reason to. The record isn't better. Her stats aren't better. Her head-to-head, she's 1-2 head-to-head against Caitlin Clark. No, she just, when you look at it, those are the three major things: stats, Clark; head-to-head, Clark. I mean, Clark has her beat. So to me, Caitlin Clark should be runaway, unless something changes. She should be runaway WNBA Rookie of the Year. To me, it shouldn't even really be that close. The media, this propaganda, it kills me. It kills me. Well, if you were asking me, ain't these people on ESPN who know Caitlin Clark should be Rookie of the Year, but they just want to get a hot take and be like, yep, Angel Reese should be Rookie of the Year because of their record, which doesn't even make any sense because, okay, who won Rookie of the Year in the NBA? Victor Wembanyama. Who won? Who was second place in the Rookie of the Year home? In the NBA, Chet Holmgren. Wembanyama Spurs were 22-60, and the Thunder were the number one seed. So by their logic, Holmgren should have been Rookie of the Year over Wembanyama. By their logic. And their logic's not even working right now because when they said that the Sky, I think the Fever were just outside of the playoffs, and the Sky, it was like half a game. It's like it's gonna change every week. The Sky have lost 2 games to the Liberty, and let's see who the Fever. The Fever just beat. They had come off being the Liberty. They lost to the Mystics. And then who was the team they beat the other night? It was the Mercury again. Yeah. So I mean realistically the Fever, I look at their remaining schedule, I say they're going to make the playoffs. I say they play the Wings, Mercury again, Storm, Lynx, Dream, Connecticut Sun, Sky for the 4th and final time, which that game on August 30th will probably determine who the Rookie of the Year is going to be. The Wings again, the Sparks, the Lynx, the Dream, Aces, Wings, Mystics. To me, as long as the Fever do what they need to do against the mediocre to bad teams, they're going to be into the playoffs. And maybe if they beat some of these good teams as well, they can be over 500. They're only 3 games under. Yeah, Caitlin Clark should run away with Rookie of the Year to me. She's my Rookie of the Year as of right now. And there's really nothing you can tell me to convince me that Angel Reese is the Rookie of the Year right now. That's where I stand. Okay, college football, the 12-team playoff. College football is coming up in a month. There's been all this talk on the 12-team playoff, obviously. So this is what I found out. So that not the non-power 5 team, the best non-power 5 team will be the 5th seed, which is interesting to me because they will have home field against the 12th team, who will probably be a power 5 team. So say it would be Liberty against Penn State. That would be the biggest game in like Liberty's history or something like that, because they would have Penn State coming to their building in a college football playoff. Like, bro, I'm gonna love this 12-team playoff, especially with the home field advantage. Last year, I think the matchups would have been crazy because you had 6 teams that had an argument to be like, we can win the national championship. Those 6 teams were Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida State. And then, not to mention, Oregon was fantastic. Ohio State, when they had their quarterback, they were fantastic. Ohio State, when they had their full roster, they lost 1 game all year, and that was to Michigan, the national champions. So, I mean, I think this 12-team playoff this year, now, can we be honest? It's going to be mostly Big Ten and SEC, because I think this is who I think from the Big Ten will be in. I think Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon will go. I think they'll go. USC and Washington are on the fringe. I think those four. I actually think Michigan will go. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon. I think they will go. From the SEC, if I had to pick, I think Georgia's gonna go. I think. See, it's hard. I think Georgia's gonna go. I think Texas will go. I believe in DeBoer, so I think Alabama will go. And then that fourth team could be anywhere from LSU, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, but I think I will probably lean. I don't think LSU. I will probably lean somewhere between Oklahoma or Ole Miss, somewhere in there. Maybe even Tennessee, but I would lean somewhere in there. So at least 8 of the 12 are going to be Big Ten/SEC teams. So for anybody that's going to complain, oh, there's too many Big Ten, there's too many SEC teams, you should have saw this coming. That's just what's going to happen. There's 12 spots. I mean, I actually think the funny thing about this is the most hype coming into the college football season, again, is Colorado. They're probably the most hyped team. I actually think Colorado's going to get into this thing. I actually think when you look at the Big 12, they could be primed, no pun intended, to win the thing. They still got Shedeur Sanders. They still have Travis Hunter. They got the number one offensive lineman in Jordan Seaton. They addressed their needs at the Shiloh's still there. They addressed their needs at the D lineman position in the offensive line. I think they would be there to make a. Now the team I wouldn't be shocked. They're in the Big 12 now. I think Arizona could win. Arizona was on a high last year. Arizona was the hottest team in the nation last season. At the end of it, or at least one of the hottest teams in the nation. They didn't get into the Pac-12 championship game because it was Washington and Oregon, and they got hot a little too late, and so they just missed out on it. But I would not be shocked if Arizona, they finished as a top 15 team last year. I would not be shocked if Arizona found a way to get in this dance. I would not be shocked. But this college football season is going to be insanely fun when I look at it, top to bottom. I think these games are going to be fantastic. I think these atmospheres are going to be fantastic, especially when these now Power 5 games now. I mean, you got to tune in because these are teams that could potentially be in the CFP. So they're playing for something. I mean, they were playing for something anyway, like New Year's 6. But if your guys were just going to opt out, I mean, who cares? They're playing for a CFP. Also, these conference games for the Power 5, I guess now, even though it's really the Power 4, the top 4, it means so much. And these non-conference games still mean a lot. Plus, these games late in the season, if you're the ace team against the 12th, that's a big game. You don't want to lose that game and risk falling out of the playoff. So, yeah, to me, college football right now, I'm excited for this 12-team playoff. If the top 4 teams get a bye, then 5 through 12 they have to play. So if you're if you're 5, 6, 7, or 8, you get home field. Which that is gonna be these games are gonna be incredible, man. It's gonna be really fun to watch college football this season, and I don't know who's gonna win it all. I wanna say it's Ohio State has the best roster, but if I were to bet on a coach, I would bet on Georgia. I would bet on Kirby Smart, and that's not really that's not really going out on a limb there, but yeah, that's who I would bet on to win the national championship. So this has been the July 15th episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. We will be back tomorrow for July 16th, the Tuesday edition for the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Hopefully, when you see this episode, it will be up on YouTube at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please make sure to like, comment, and share this video. Tell people come to the pod. Until then, see ya.